feel like we gotta have 3 spots to kind of get like a nice, well-rounded life, you know? Usually it's work, home, and that's about it. You know, sometimes we find ourselves in the day-to-day grind, not being able to go out, not being able to see people, not being able to socialize. You know, that can be tough. That can be stressful. So maybe we find ourselves at home too much, you know, not going out, not exploring the world. Or maybe, you know, maybe just maybe, you have the fortunate problem of enjoying your hobbies too much and spending too much time on your hobbies, not enough time at home with family, or not enough time working and saving up money. And I feel like usually most people have 2 of the 3 things down pat. You know, usually we have either the home and the work down pat, or we have the work and the hobby, or we have the hobby and home. You know, it's usually 2 of the 3 are pretty good. And to sort of balance life out with those 3, I think is really important. I feel especially as men, we really gotta force ourselves to go out there. We gotta force ourselves to socialize. You know, that's why I think liminal spaces are so great. And if you don't know what it is, it's pretty much like, kind of how I look at it is, there's like society, you know, there's your day-to-day, and then there's like a little pocket, a little world that you kind of incorporate in, that you kind of learn from and grow from. That could be maybe a Dungeons and Dragons club, maybe it's jiu-jitsu, maybe it's just playing board games with your friends, whatever it is. Having that like third space you go back to regularly sort of like I feel like resets your brain, you know, sort of gives you something forward to look forward to, gives you something to grow in. Definitely adds a dimension to life. Super important. And my goodness, this is an amazing park, I gotta say. I only ever seen it from a distance, but this is really good. And it's super important, I feel like, to not get caught up, you know, in the day-to-day grind and the hustle and bustle. You know, sometimes we find ourselves wanting to be millionaires for whatever reason, wanting to make $1 bajillion, whatever it is. Complete and utter scam, complete and utter psyop. I mean, what a waste of life. A whole life dedicated to just making money for money's sake. Not for me. And a life only at home, I mean, that's kind of boring. And you see those memes of like bed rotting and stuff. It's just like, you know, too many hours inside every day is kind of depressing. And I mean, a life of hobby, I mean, you see that too, and it's kind of loserish is the only way to describe it. I mean, a life strictly of joy, and not joy, but like a life strictly of just pursuing interests. I mean, there's not really dimension to that. It's a very airy-fairy existence, I feel like. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The 3, and having a good balance. Maybe even 4, you know? I feel like church can almost be a liminal space in a sense. Essential 3rd space, 4th space to go to. And spiritually rejuvenating, if you will. This nature, man, I feel like I'm in Lord of the Rings. Look at this. I feel like I'm discovering something new, uncharted territories right now. The world is at my fingertips. I could turn the corner right now and run into a magical dwarf that sends me on an adventure where, I don't know, I learned to shoot the bow and make $1 bajillion in gold coins while I'm at it. You know, I could turn this corner and there could be an orc, you know, getting ready to blast me, completely and utterly murk me. You know, sometimes it's good to view life in a sort of like mystic sense, if you know what I mean. Kind of makes things more fun, makes things more enjoyable, more interesting, if you will. And I just had to turn around because, like I said, I turned the corner of an orc just appeared out of nowhere. Not literally, it was just a dude, but I don't like filming in public, so that's like the equivalent fear level as running into an orc for me right now. So I'm about to flee. You know, this is flee mode. Hold up, guys. There's a cutscene right now. Gotta flee the scene. You know what? Bear with me for a second, okay? If you're still watching, after all this madness, what Skyrim class or Lord of the Rings character type would you be if you could be one, and why? Please put that down in the comments. Me personally, I really like the stealth builds. I mean, I don't know if you can tell right now, but I'm doing a little stealth mode right now, running away. Trying to film video in stealth. Me, I don't know, I really liked the Khajiit when I played Skyrim. Like this cat humanoid thing that was like super stealthy, and I'd crouch, and I was like a bow and arrow specialist. Or the wood elf. I think it was the wood elf or the Khajiit. I can't really pick. Definitely stealth build. You know, you sneak up, dagger them, bow and arrow, just shoot them. Plus 10, you know, plus 10 damage if you're not seen. I mean, that's overpowered, man. You get the special bow with the light step. Cloak yourself with some magic because you're a wood elf. I think I'd have to be the wood elf. I think that's the one with the stealth, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, super fun game, by the way. Video games can almost be a liminal space in a sense. I feel like that's why people love video games so much. Is because it almost gives them that third space. Let's sneak through here. See that stealth? It almost gives them that third space at home. You get to socialize too, you know, you're on Discord and stuff. So I see why people love video games so much. But as I was saying, what character would you be? What build would you be? What type would you be? Would you be a stealth, a warrior, you know, magic, all that stuff? Drop it in the comments down below. Start a conversation, you know, start a discussion. This YouTube channel could be a liminal space if it must. Anyways, I think I'm getting surrounded now by the hounds all around me. They're closing in on me, guys, so I gotta make a quick break before my cover's blown. And I'm taking over the game. Frick. I don't know if you guys ever seen Don Quixote or read Don Quixote. Basically this dude that reads too many knight errants books. So he thinks he's a knight. And he goes on these crazy adventures and he looks at the world through the lens of a knight, even though he's in modern times, or modern-ish times for when the book was written. And yeah, he's a complete madman, but for some reason, somehow, the things that he puts his mind to, the adventures, like almost seem real when you're reading it. And maybe that's lunacy, but I feel like there's a little bit of merit to it, you know? He became a legend. A little bit of merit. Delusion maxed, if you will. Not really, but anyways, guys, I'm gonna end the video here. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time.